Hello and welcome back once again to the kitchen, and welcome back to Get Cooking with Rev. I'm Rev, and it feels like it's been forever since I've done one of these. Now you guys may be saying, what are you talking about? I just watched you last week. You put one out every Friday. Well, yes and no. So a little behind the scenes bit here. I don't actually do these every week. Back when I first started doing these, I had quite a bit of money saved up, and I basically just filmed every meal I cooked every night for like 2 weeks. And since I'm going to put them out once a week, I was able to back catalog like 2 months worth of videos. However, it's been 2 months and I'm slowly running out of videos. The one you saw last week was probably the last in the back catalog, so now I gotta start filming some stuff to guarantee that I have videos at least for the next month. So we're back in the kitchen. I do have some ideas for other recipes that I do want to do. Unfortunately, as I've stated in some of my other videos, if you watch any of my other videos, I am in a bit of a financial rut right now, so I have to be very careful where I spend my money. And I've been having to eat basically like Tombstone pizzas and Hamburger Helper and stuff like that lately, so not been a lot of recipes being made here for me to film and back catalog. But I do got a few planned, so Get Cooking's not done by any stretch of the imagination, although if you suddenly see me not post a video on a Friday, I'm probably taking a short hiatus, but it will return. But for right now, we got some stuff to cook. I actually borrowed this recipe from my friend Jane. You can check her out over at Twitch. It's twitch.tv/Jane_DS. So you guys can go check her out if you feel like it. If not, then stay here and watch me. But she does cook a lot more regularly than I do, and once in a while she cooks something that looks interesting, so I borrow it from her, which is the case today. So today we're making what's called Crescent Roll Sausage Bake. It's a real simple recipe. It's more of a breakfast food. I'm making it for dinner tonight, but I'll probably eat most of it for breakfast tomorrow. But it is real simple. It's only a handful of ingredients. Only takes a short time to cook. So let's flip the camera around. I'm going to show you the ingredients you're going to need, and we'll get started on making Crescent Roll Sausage Bake. Alright, so the first ingredient we're going to need for the Crescent Roll Sausage Bake is obviously some sausage. The recipe that she gave me recommends using the Jimmy Dean's pre-cooked, fully cooked crumbles in a bag. The thing is, those are like $8 a bag or something like that, so I'm just going to do what basically Jane did on her video and just brown up some tube sausage here. This is mild fresh ground pork sausage. I got it at Publix, as you can see. The thing is that throws me off on this recipe is the crumble bags say that they're 8 ounces each, which is half a pound, but that would only be about half of this, so about this much. But those bags feel like they have at least a pound in them when you feel them, so I think there's more than 8 ounces in there, even though it says it's an 8-ounce bag. So I'm going to do 1 pound. And it did recommend 2 of the bags, so I'm going to end up doing 2 pounds of beef total. The other reason I'll explain in a minute why I'm doing 2 pounds instead of just 1, but that's the main reason, is those bags felt like they had a lot more in them than half a pound. Next item we'll need is a block of cream cheese. This has been sitting at room temperature all day, so it's ready to go. It does call for Philadelphia cream cheese on the recipe, but I would normally use a generic brand. The only reason I have Philadelphia cream cheese in the house right now is because my mother bought it, because when she went to the store, that's all they had, and she says she can never find anything other than that, even though I found it I found generic brands at like Walmart for a lot cheaper than what you would pay for this. So if you're on a budget, you can find it cheaper, use it cheaper. If not, if you want to stick to the recipe, it does call for Philadelphia cream cheese. And the third and final ingredient, of course, is our crescent rolls. The recipe calls for 2 Pillsbury, what they are calling crescent roll sheets. Basically, it's just the rolled out crescent roll dough without the perforations. You can get the ones with the perforations, you just have to pinch all the perforations back together. So I'm not using Pillsbury, I'm using Publix because these were 2 for $4, so that whole thing cost me $4, where 1 roll of Pillsbury crescent rolls was like $4 on its own, and I couldn't find the sheet ones. Apparently there's something new and not readily available yet, at least not at Publix. So for half the price, I got what I needed. So that brings me back to the other reason why I'm doubling up and using 2 pounds of meat instead of just the 1, is when Jane made this the other day on her stream, it didn't seem like it had much filling in it. It seemed like it was a lot of bread, especially when you got two layers of the crescent rolls, because the crescent rolls do rise and thicken as you bake them. And I was like, it seems like that's a lot of breading. And I was like, well, I'll just make one roll of crescent rolls and then like cut it in half and flip it over and make a smaller batch. But I figured if I'm going to go through all that trouble, I might as well just double up the meat. Because like I said, those bags feel like they had more than half a pound in them. And then it'll be proper filling for the 2 layers. And you'll see more on that as we put this together. But we're going to get started on this now. So there you have our 3 ingredients: sausage, cream cheese, and crescent rolls. And yeah, let's move over to the stove and we'll get started on assembling this. Alright, so here we are over at the stove. We got our large skillet heating up here. I got the temperature set to about 6.5, so like a medium-high heat. We're going to let the pan heat up a little bit. And then we're just going to simply open up our 2 pounds, throw it in there, brown it up, and you guys will see that as it comes together. So while that heats up, I'm going to open these up and I'll be right back. Alright, so our pan's starting to come up to heat now. You can feel the heat rising off of it. So now I've cut open each of our things. So basically, yeah, this is half a pound right here. 8 ounces, which is basically what it says is in those bags. Right there, that little bit. Even when you chop that up, it still doesn't seem like a whole lot. So like I said, I feel like there's a lot more in there, especially once this starts cooking and all the fat renders off, it's going to reduce a lot. So I just personally feel like there's a lot more in those bags than what they're saying, but I still don't feel like paying almost $8 for a bag of pre-cooked sausage when I can just easily cook this myself. So we're just going to squeeze all the little bits out of there, just like that. You know, and even though it's not ground beef, this is once again a recipe where you guys see me browning meat to start. I really need to get some more variety in my recipes. And that makes 4. And it sounds like the train's coming through, so sorry about any background noise. Alright, now once we got that in there, we're going to grab our good old-fashioned mashing tool here and just mash the hell out of it. Just like you would ground beef or whatever. See, that's about how much, maybe a little bit less than that, feels like about the size of what's in those bags. But like I said, this is going to reduce, so yeah, that's, I don't know how they measure out their ounces. It's probably, since it's post-cooked, it's probably 8 ounces after all the fat's rendered out, where these are before the fat renders out, that they weigh this. So yeah, it's probably close to a pound anyway. So I'm probably doing the recipe a lot more accurately than Jane actually did the other day. Anyway, enough talking about other crap. This is browning up. We're going to let this cook until it's all rendered down, it's all cooked, and then we'll be back to show you the next step. Alright, so while we got our meat browning up, we're going to move over here to our counter. We got our cake pan, or not cake pan, baking sheet here. I got a little bit of a deep well on it, no real reason, just that's what it shows that they used on the image in the recipe, so that's what I'm going to use. Now, it doesn't say that you have to do this. It actually doesn't say to line the pan with anything, but I am going to spray it with a little bit of cooking spray just so the dough doesn't stick to it when it's done. Come on. This can's almost empty, sorry. There we go. So yeah, just give it a quick spray of cooking spray. I just gave our meat mixture a little bit of a chop, mix, and stir there. Alright, so while we're over here, now we got this baking sheet sprayed. We're going to open up our crescent rolls, just one. This one doesn't have the normal tear tab, so I got to figure out how to do this. Oh yeah, it does on the inside. So, I really hate doing these. I'm just going to bang it on the counter and see if I can get it to open, because otherwise I got to peel that thing and it never pops. So we're just going to do this. Who invented these frickin' things? Seriously. Alright, so you're supposed to grab this thing and peel it. And in the old days, this used to make it pop once you got it to a certain point. Now you're peeling the label off, and then it says to open it with a spoon. Which makes no sense. Why even wrap it in this thing then? So then, what it says, you take a spoon and you put it right here on the crease. And it's supposed to open it, but it doesn't. There, I pound it on the counter, it pops right open. Alright, so now we're going to open this, and we have our crescent roll dough. Maybe, if I can get it out of here without ruining it. Alright, so there's that. Now somewhere on here is a seam right there. So you're going to place it to the one side and try and peel the seam back. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. Yep. And then you want to just gently unroll your crescent roll sheet all the way across the pan like so. And then this is what I was talking about with the perforation, was these little lines where you can tear them off and make crescents out of them, or croissants, sorry. The sheets would basically be this. It's basically like the pizza dough, the roll-out pizza dough, except it's not pizza dough, it's this croissant stuff. But then you want to basically pinch all these back together real lightly. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of pull everything back together so it's one solid sheet, or as close to a solid sheet as you can get it. And pinch it there and there. Down the center. That looks good. No, there's some separations. That's about what you want, just like that. And that's all to this step for now. Now we're going to go back over, finish browning up our meat, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so as you can see here, guys, the meat is pretty much browned up. There is still a little bit of pink in it, so we are going to keep stirring it around, giving it nice little chops. You want it all to be completely browned. Surprisingly, this isn't rendering as much grease as I thought it would compared to other sausages I bought, so this might actually be some pretty damn good sausage. We're going to give it a few more minutes to finish cooking up. Make sure we got all the pink out of it, then we are going to drain it off. But like I said, there's not a whole lot of grease in here. So yeah, I'll be back when it's ready to be drained. But for the most part, we're about ready to rock and roll on to the next step. So we're going to finish browning this up, and as always, I'll be right back to show you what comes next. Okay, so it looks like our meat's pretty well browned up now, so I'm going to move this over to the sink and drain it real quick. Then it goes right back into the pan, so I'm going to do that, and then we move on to the next step, so let's do that real quick. Alright, so over to the sink, and grab our spatula, and again, we're just going to drain off the beef, just like we, or pork, whatever you want to call it, just like we always do. Again, be careful dumping grease down your drain, it's not good for it. But I'm a rebel. So, yeah. Alright, so grease is off of it. As you can see, there wasn't a whole lot there. Just going to give that a little shake to get all the grease out of the bottom of it, which isn't a whole lot, as you can see. Alright, now we're going to move this back over to the stove. So that's going to go right back in the pan. Like that. Now we're going to turn off our heat because we don't need it anymore. The pan's still plenty warm to do our next step. So now we're going to need our Philadelphia cream cheese, or whatever cream cheese you happen to have. Again, this has been sitting at room temperature, so it'll be easy to use. It's nice and soft, unlike last time I tried to use cream cheese and I forgot to leave it at room temperature. It was hard as a brick and took forever to melt properly and all that stuff. Just wasn't a fun time. So then you want to take your block of cream cheese right there, and boom, right into the meat. And you just want to work that in, whoops, until it's all incorporated. In reality, I might need a second block now that I'm looking at this, but we're going to work this first one in and see where things go from there. Might be enough, might not. Might be one block per 8 ounces of meat, maybe. We'll see. Basically, you're just going to kind of incorporate this just like you did the cottage cheese into the meat mixture in the lasagna video. Doesn't need to be heavily coated, just an even coating all over the place. Maybe a block and a half would be good. I might do the I got a second block, I think. If not, then I just have to make this work. Because the other block hasn't been at room temperature all day, so it's probably going to be a pain in the ass to try and incorporate in if I do add it. I don't know, I might be able to do what I need to do with this. We'll see. I think we got a pretty good incorporation, honestly. One block is fine. If you want to do an extra block or an extra half a block, that's up to you. I think we got more than enough coverage here to do what we need to do with it. That looks pretty good. This side's a little on the dry side, but like I said, there's still a lot over here I can pull over. Still real thick in the middle, so if you can push some of the sides up into the middle and then mash it down, it'll help incorporate a little bit. Try not to throw too much of it out of the pan like I just did. But there you have it. So that is our meat mixture ready to go. Alright, now we're going to move back over to the counter and I'll show you what to do next. Alright, so we're back over here to our crescent roll. Got it all laid out and ready to go. Then all you want to do is come over here with your meat mixture that we just made. And you're just going to scoop it into the center here. Give it a nice little press down and a spread as you're going. Until you use up all your meat mixture and got a nice thick pile of stuff in here. Like I said, these crescent rolls are going to rise as you cook them, which is why I want to be able to double up my layer a bit. Not too much, but enough. You know what I mean? You don't want all this dough and no filling. So we're just going to give it a press down, make sure we get into all the corners. Wherever we need to fill. Put it in the center and then press it out to the sides if it needs more on the sides. Don't try and pile it on the sides because it's going to end up falling out. Just kind of put it there. And then push it, and it'll go about where you want it to. A little bit more on this back edge. Got a couple more spoonfuls here I can do. Just going to kind of fill out the center. And we're just going to pull this out of the pan like so. Because there is a little bit of grease in here and I don't want all that grease into this. So we have that, a nice thick layer. Now for the next step, I'm going to take your other crescent roll. Have you figured out what we're going to do with it yet? If you got another pan like this that'll help you to lay this out on at first, go ahead and get it. I don't think I do, so I'm just going to have to try to freehand this. So we're just going to open it up same way we did the last one. Just going to give it a little wrap on the counter till it pops open, and then do our best to get it out of here without destroying it. Alright, now we gotta try and find the seam here, so we're going to hold this one in our hand. The seam's right here, so kind of set it down towards the edge, unfold your seam the best you can. If you gotta move it around a little bit, go ahead. You kind of want it to hang down over the edge. So this needs to be moved back a little bit like that. Now we're just going to unroll this over top of our meat mixture. We're going to have to stretch it a little bit to make it fit. Going to pinch all of our seams together on this one, just like we did last time. If you feel it needs to be adjusted, like I got a bit too much on this side or one side or the other, and go ahead and move it wherever you feel it needs to be moved. And once you got everything pinched together like that, you want to press the sides together all the way around, just to try and give it a seal, make it into like a little pocket. If you want to get a fork and crimp your edges, go for it. I think you can press them together just using your fingers. You might have to pull this side over a bit. Maybe if I can do this, there we go. And then once you got that pressed closed all the way around, go ahead and pinch your seams back together. The dough will stretch, so get it where you need it. And then pinch it up. It's got a few little holes in it, no big deal. It's just going to let air escape from it. So something like that. Now it doesn't say to brush over it with any egg mixture or milk or butter mixture or anything like that. So I'm not going to do it, even though my better judgment says to do it. But now what we're going to do is preheat our oven. Why does this seam keep coming open? There we go. But we're going to preheat our oven to 375 degrees. Actually, let's figure out what the baking directions are for the crescent rolls. This says 350 for 15 minutes. The recipe says 375 for 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to go off these directions because we don't want to burn our crescent roll. So we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Once it's up to temperature, we're going to pop this in for 15 minutes, give it a look. If it needs an extra 5, we'll let it cook the extra 5. If not, it comes out and it's done. Alright, so let's preheat our oven and we'll pop this in. Alright, so as you can see, our oven is done preheating. So we're going to go ahead and give this one final pinch together because it is separating slightly again. Alright, and now into the oven it goes. Just like that. And we will see you again in 15 minutes. Alright, so it's been 15 minutes. Let's take a look and see where we're at here. And that looks like it's a nice golden brown, which is what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out. And we're going to let this rest for about 10-15 minutes or so. Let it cool down a little bit so we don't burn ourselves eating it. And then we'll be back to cut into it and see how it tastes. Alright kids, so it's been about 15 minutes. It's cooled down a bit. It's still nice and warm, but I think it's edible now, so we're going to cut into this, get a piece out, and see how it tastes. Alright, so now I gotta find me a knife, which I just had one. I don't know where it went, so I'll grab another one here. And we're just going to cut into this. You can see the perforations where the center line was, so I'm going to cut it there first, just so it kind of has an even halves here. Should give it a couple cuts through, make sure it cut all the way through. Then I'm going to go about halfway in the middle of that and make another cut. Then I'm going to go roughly about where the perforation is again, right down the center of each of these. And you do the same thing on the other side, but I'm only eating one right now, so I don't need to cut the whole thing. Right, so we got our plate. We're going to get in here on the corner. Well, get it to where you guys can actually see what I'm doing. And we're just going to pick up a little piece like that. And there you have it. This looks a lot more like the photo than what Jane made the other day. Hers looked like it barely had any filling in it. Mine, you can actually see the filling because I'm a better chef. Just kidding. Alright, so there we have it. Our crescent roll sausage bake. Jane tells me it tastes just like biscuits and gravy. I don't know how cream cheese is supposed to taste like gravy, but we're going to pop over to the table real quick. Actually, we can't pop over the table because my mother has a puzzle she's putting together, and it's all over the place. So we're going to pop over somewhere and try this out. Alright, so we're going to try something different. I moved it over to the counter, and I actually have both hands free. I'm not holding the weird selfie stick. So here we have it in our hand. Since it is a pocket, I can pick it up and eat it. So we're going to do this today instead of sitting at the table so you guys can actually see me eat for once. Cheers. I don't know if I would say that tastes like biscuits and gravy, but it does taste damn good. I can kind of see where she's getting the biscuits and gravy because that cream cheese does give a nice creaminess, and mixed in with the sausage. Maybe if I had added in more cream cheese, I would have got more of the biscuits and gravy, but actually I think it has just enough cream cheese in it. I think any more might have been too overwhelming, and it would have been like nothing but cream cheese flavor, which I'm not a huge fan of. But this actually tastes pretty good. The crescent rolls are nice and soft and flaky and buttery. I can kind of see where she gets biscuits and gravy, but as someone who eats biscuits and gravy pretty much on a regular basis, not exactly biscuits and gravy, but I can see where she gets that. That creaminess with the sausage actually does kind of have the consistency of biscuits and gravy if you put sausage in your gravy. If you're someone who just eats just the gravy with no sausage added to it, you might be like, eh, not really, but it's close. Does the croissant taste like biscuit? Depends on which biscuits you're making. Some of them, yes, but for the most part it kind of tastes like a croissant, which still, croissants with a gravy over top of them would still be awesome. So yeah, overall not bad. Actually kind of glad I tried this one. I was actually going to try it the other day because, like I said, my mother had some cream cheese in the fridge. I was like, oh hey, that's a simple recipe. I can just run up and grab some sausage and some croissant rolls and we'll have a meal. And unfortunately at the time I didn't have any money, so I had to wait until today. But now I got food, so now you guys got to watch me make it. But yeah, overall I'm not disappointed. It does make a good breakfast food. It's also making a good dinner because that's where when I'm eating it. As you can see, the window's closed, so it is nighttime out. But yeah, got a couple more breakfast recipes I do want to get to. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to them. I might do one later this week because it involves something that's on the counter over there that my mother picked up the other day. And normally I don't buy them, but I have a recipe for them. So now that she's got them, I might see if I can steal one and do something with it. So, don't know. That might be the next episode in a week. It might not. I don't know. I don't really want to do breakfast type of thing. I kind of want to break up like breakfast, dinner, lunch type of thing. Have a variety of what you guys can make. But overall, yeah, definitely try this, especially if you like biscuits and gravy or you just like breakfast foods in general. You like sausage. Even if you like a calzone or one of those things where it's a bunch of beef and stuff inside of a pocket, you'll probably love it. I was telling my mother I was going to make this the other day, and she said, why would you put the 2 layers of croissant on it? It would be too, when they rise, they're too bready. And after seeing Jane do it, I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that. But yeah, my mother was saying that she probably wouldn't put the top layer of croissant on it. She would just made up the meat mixture, put it on the one croissant, and then like covered it with cheese and kind of made a breakfast pizza type of thing out of it. And of course, while she's saying that, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking this is supposed to be biscuits and gravy. Who puts cheese on their biscuits and gravy? But then I was thinking there are cheesy biscuits. So if you want to put a little bit of cheese in this too, go for it. Like I said, it's kind of the consistency of a calzone. So if you wanted to put some cheese in there, I don't think it would hurt it. In fact, the cream cheese does kind of give it a cheesiness in a way, but not really. But yeah, handful of like shredded cheese probably wouldn't hurt it. When you're making your sausage, if you want to chop up an onion, throw that in there. I don't know what you guys normally put in your breakfast sausage, chopped up bell pepper, whatever. I don't think adding anything to this would really hurt it. But it is a very simple meal. It's real easy to do right from the start. And like I said, 3 simple ingredients and you got a meal. I enjoy it. So like I said, if you like biscuits and gravy, you probably will too. So enough rambling. That's it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. If you make this, send me a photo or comment below. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want to send me a message on. Hell, Snapchat to me. I think I got a Snapchat now. I don't know. I don't know if there's a link to that up there, though. It might be in the description. But anyway, as always, thanks for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are in the description. If you are subscribed and you don't get alerts when I upload new stuff, hit that bell thing up there and tell them that you want notifications from when I do stuff, because apparently that's a thing now, too, that I just found out about. Do all that, and until next time, get cooking.